getting to the finish line is very difficult. The procedures that you have to go through are very strict. So we bring startups and funding organizations together. Matchmaking is very important. Even if you are almost there, it still can fail.
Welcome back to another episode of the Startup Passport by Econsulate. Today we're joined by Smit. Thank you very much for joining. You're the Managing Director at Rotterdam Square for 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And that is a organization that connects tech and healthcare. So can you tell us a little bit about what Rotterdam Square does exactly?
Yeah, well, as you said, Rotterdam Square is the campus organization of Erasmus MC Campus. And we are here in Rotterdam to connect the life science and health sector, which is within our city. And our aim is to bring together scientists, technology guys, and people from healthcare, from industry and from healthcare side, to innovate, bring new innovations to the market and accelerate innovations for the healthcare of the future. So, and our role is most of the time connecting people, trying to bring those people together, matchmaking. We organize a lot of events, and we try to attract new companies to be part of the life science and health ecosystem with a health and tech profile.
And for obvious reasons, the health sector is a very substantial one that is substantial for everyone, more or less. But it's also one where new innovations, if they fail, they can have quite some negative consequences for the people involved. Is that something that is considered, or is this something that might hold innovation back sometimes because the room to fail is not that big in the healthcare sector?
Well, you see that a lot of people from, let's say, hospitals or startups from spin-offs from industry they start their company as a startup, but it's challenging. The procedures that you have to go through are very strict. It takes a long time to get, for instance, a treatment to the market, around 15 years. It's a lot of money involved. It can be $1 billion for a treatment for any kind of disease, or for a medical device, even between 50 million euros. So it's challenging, and because we are working with patients, the rules are very strict. But still, you have a lot of startups, a lot of people who are joining the startup sector. But getting to the finish line is very difficult. And even if you are almost there, it still can fail. And if you get over the finish line, then you have the other one thing. Here we have the insurance companies, and your product has to be reimbursed. Otherwise, you cannot get any money from it, and it will not be sold by the hospitals. So yeah, it's a challenging one, but we still see a lot of companies in our sector, and it's very international. So if you have a product and you are a startup here in Rotterdam, your focus is on global access and selling all over the world, because it's so expensive to make a medical device. The Netherlands is just too small to get your product reimbursed. So but it's challenging, but everybody who is in there is really into it, let's say like that.
And it sounds like they have to be, because you just described that the whole process from beginning to end, and even like past the end stage, let's say, is super hard. So what is the point where you guys can help the most with Rotterdam Square? Is that at the initial stage?
Well, what we try to do is bring the right companies or the right persons together, so that if you are in a stage, let's say you're in an early stage of developing your product, it would be nice to have counterparts within the hospital, so you can see if what you are working on will work also on the work floor, because that's important when it comes to a medical device. And when it comes to a treatment or a drug, then you have to do the clinical studies, and then you hope, of course, that it doesn't fail within the human body. So, so collaboration is important, finding the right organizations where you can collaborate with. So somebody who can help you with further develop your product, your medical device, for instance. So it's scalable. Funding is very important. Without any funding, there will be no company anymore. So the funding is really something that is important. So these are the things that we also organize. We have a healthy funding event each year where we bring startups and funding organizations together to see if they can partner. We have our own events where we try to bring together those companies or companies with people from the hospital so that they could collaborate. So matchmaking is very important. And of course, in the end, it's up to them if they want to collaborate together. But we try to bring the right persons together to make that success as big as possible. Yeah.
And with the challenges you are facing, or the companies are facing here in the Netherlands, were you able to draw up any comparison or spot any differences? Because you visited the Texas Medical Center. This is the largest medical complex in the world with over 61 research and education institutions. How was your experience there? Is there anything that you were able to take from that visit to hoping to imply it here?
Well, not for Rotterdam Square itself, because it was more about all the hospitals that we saw, but there were some experimental environments within hospitals. We went to 3 or 4 hospitals ourselves, and each hospital has an experimental site where you can work together, where you can try the things that you are working on, and it doesn't infect already the patient. So for sensoring, for instance, you can see how sensoring works in a patient room and see how you can develop that further and see if it's working. And they have all these kind of facilities where you, as a company, you can train together with the hospital and see if your device or your sensor is working. And that was something that I thought, well, that should we also should have that in Erasmus MC. And we have some, but it could be much bigger, because these are the parts where you can bring industry and the healthcare sector together. Yeah.
And essentially, is that something that is the responsibility from Erasmus MC, so the medical center of Rotterdam, or is that something that also the city itself, Rotterdam, or the government could implement? Do you know?
I think it's something for the hospital itself, but we see that it benefits if we have these kind of facilities in there. And there are a lot of facilities in there within Erasmus MC that are available already for companies. We have some core facilities where you can do testing and these kind of stuff, but really bring together both the healthcare specialists and the academia, from academia side, and the industry within these patient rooms where there are not official patients, but where you can see if your sensor is working, for instance. That's very much what they do in the US, and it would be very nice if we would have that here. And that can help to accelerate these innovations and make sure that the innovations where they are working on really fits what the hospital needs. Yeah.
And then to wrap it up, a question that is a little bit different. Obviously, you work a lot with entrepreneurs and with young people or people that are just starting their own business. Now, if you were to build your own in any sector, did you get any inspiration from them where you think like, oh, maybe this is something that I could have done, or this would be the first business that I would be interested in myself?
Well, being in healthcare, I see it's a challenge, but I think it has so much societal impact if the product or the treatment comes to the market. I would say if I would be more entrepreneurial. I think I have an entrepreneurial mindset, but I'm not an entrepreneur. But I would do something really in healthcare. I would try to do something in healthcare or another societal impact sector which can help people. I think that's the most important one. So not really into making money, but see if you can find a solution for a societal problem, and in our case, a healthcare problem. So that would be nice, but I think there are much better. There are more persons in the world who are better entrepreneurial than me. But I'm very good at connecting people. So that's my.
Exactly. I was just going to say, fortunately, you're still in a position where you can have that entrepreneurial mindset and connect it with healthcare. Good luck with that. Thank you for joining today, Ellen Smit from Rotterdam Square.
Well, thank you for having me.